thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States?
The United States assembled one of the greatest basketball teams of all time. Some might argue the greatest. The modern-day Dream Team faced little challenges on its way to a gold medal in Paris, while teams like France with Wembanyama and Serbia with Nikola Jokic understandably put up fights against the heavy favorites. There was one team who no one expected to be close, a team with no obvious superstar leading them, little basketball infrastructure back home, and a former NBA player who had to keep the team going. A team who was one
drives for the lead, he puts it in!
LeBron James layup away from pulling off one of the greatest upsets in modern basketball and sports history. That team is the South Sudan men's national basketball team, and their story cannot be any more amazing. South Sudan is the world's youngest country, a country which only gained its independence in 2011. However, things quickly became chaotic for the young country, which fell into civil war from 2013 to 2020. One man hoped to unite the South Sudanese people through basketball. Lual Dane was born in what is now South Sudan, before the country became independent. Dane and his family were forced to leave their homes due to a previous civil war known as the Second Sudanese Civil War. They moved to Egypt, where another Sudanese refugee, Manute Bol, taught him the game of basketball, and then the United Kingdom, London specifically. It was there he would fall in love with the game that would change not only his life, but others as well. At just 14 years old, Lual moved to the United States to play basketball at Blair Academy in New Jersey. He thrived, becoming a 5-star recruit and the number 2 player in the country in 2003, behind only LeBron James. Dane accepted a scholarship to play for the Duke Blue Devils basketball team, where he played 1 season. His performance at Duke was good enough for the Phoenix Suns to select him with the 7th pick in the 2004 NBA draft.
Trade we just showed it.
With the 7th pick in the 2004 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns select Luol Deng from Duke University.
However, he was immediately traded to the Chicago Bulls.
He's like, if we could ever get all these guys together and we could get them on the same team, we could actually have like a real team.
If you're not effective, if you're not helping others, you're just in your comfort zone, right?
Just know that our ceiling is high. Don't be satisfied. We have a lot more to achieve.
You guys are South Sudan. You guys are the future.
It will become a Disney movie. You mark my words.
With a career that lasted 15 years, including 2 All-Star selections, playing for teams like the Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat, and Los Angeles Lakers, along with a bank account full of millions of dollars, Dane could have called it a career. Lual escaped war and poverty, and yet he still wanted to accomplish more. Almost immediately following his retirement from professional basketball in 2019, he began to focus on his home country. Dane became the president of the South Sudan Basketball Federation, and he hoped basketball could unite the young country, still recovering from a civil war. But unlike some of basketball's international superpowers, like the United States or France, money and resources were limited, and a lot of the funding for the South Sudan team would come from Dane himself, whether it was camps, tournaments, or courts. In fact, AP News reports that the first time the team assembled in Sudan, they showed up to find a single outdoor dirt court, with one rim higher than the other, and no official 10-foot regulation goals. There are currently no indoor courts in South Sudan either, but Lual is looking to fix that soon. He hopes to build as many as 9 new indoor courts in the country. Because of the lack of infrastructure, the team has spent recent years practicing in Rwanda, which is not very close to South Sudan, considering it's a 500-mile flight. But these struggles wouldn't stop Dane from accomplishing his dream of a successful South Sudan national basketball team. Dane told ESPN, "I retired and I always did my basketball camps. I know a lot of players from South Sudan, and I knew that we could make it something special." He was right.
Say your last name for me.
Kaman Maluach. Maluach is my last name.
Kaman Maluach is proof of this. He first picked up a basketball in 2019 at a Lual Dane Foundation camp, and he will now play for the Duke Blue Devils, just like Lual. Maluach is not the only talented South Sudanese player to help this team in Paris. Players like Wenyan Gabriel and Carleek Jones are just a few of the rising stars on the team. But even though players like Bol have remained a challenge to recruit to the team, Dane is optimistic, saying, "Anytime a player calls me and says, I want to play for Australia, or they want to play for any other country, I say, go ahead. Because for me, what makes us so good is that each player wants to play, and it's hard for me to say no. So when someone tells me they don't want to play, I'd rather take someone who really wants to do it. In 2021, they named former NBA and Blair Academy player Royal Ivey as the head coach of the South Sudan team. Ivey was a longtime friend of his, and looking to improve his chances of landing a head coaching job in the future. When Dane offered him the job, Ivey led the team to an impressive performance in the World Cup, which included a win against 11-time champion Angola, to advance to the Olympics. Even Dane admitted, it's kind of insane. The team was headed to Paris, but what may be their biggest accomplishment would happen in London. In an exhibition game against the United States, which Dane hoped could, as he said, change the narrative of South Sudan, the team certainly did that. An American team which featured LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant, just to name a few, trailed for much of the game, and was only saved by a last-second layup from who else but LeBron James. The game may have not technically meant anything, but it certainly did for South Sudan. The years of hard work, belief, and commitment finally paid off, as the world then knew that South Sudan could compete with the best. Their performance in Paris would be no less spectacular. It included a win, a first Olympic win, against Puerto Rico, and a near upset of fourth-ranked Serbia. Serbian player Bogdan Bogdanovic had words of praise for the team, saying, "What Luol Dane has done for their federation is amazing. You can see the work is paying off." There is no doubt more work to be done and improvements to be made. However, what Luol Dane has accomplished for South Sudan is nothing short of incredible. This team would not have been possible without him, but he knows it's worth it. He recognizes the power of sports and the unity it can provide, saying, "I want to help the growth of the game, but I want to use basketball to change the narrative and the stories of South Sudan, but also find a way to bring communities along and for everyone to get something inspirational behind it." Him and the people of South Sudan are choosing a new future, a better future. Now we just have to wait and see what this team does in Los Angeles in 2028.
I want people to know that our story is up and coming.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.